Next player I'm going to go to is Mr. Jaylen Waddle. This guy is ridiculous. Obviously was injured for a lot of this season. Didn't play, came kind of back in the final game. And, you know, because a lot of the talk is about Devontae Smith. And we'll get to him eventually in this whole thing. He is extremely talented himself. Maybe overshadowed because he's got the physique of a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
that might be half the issue. But
when he grows into his body.
Yeah, when he grows into it eventually. But Jaylen Waddle is just, I said, coming off a big injury, wasn't healthy for a lot of the year. But he did play. Like I said, showed a lot that he wanted to come out and play that last game. He was only really involved in one play, I think. I think he only had one catch or two catches that game. Mm-hmm. But it was enough to show, like, hey, guys, like, I'm here for you all. I want to win this with you. Let's go get it. Which just shows you, like, how good that team as a whole was, that you can afford to put him out there. But when Jaylen Waddle, the things I kind of watched a couple different games for him. I always kind of try to watch a couple just because anybody can watch a highlight film.
Yeah,
it's easy to do it, and I can find you a highlight film to make Jake Fromm look good. Doesn't mean that he should be a starting quarterback in the NFL or Christian Hackenberg or whoever you want. Like, I can go through the names. I can make you a list of stuff that makes that guy look really good. But you got to see how the guys play in all situations. He can do everything. So he has a little bit of the routes. He can do that. He's at major speed. But unlike a guy like a Henry Ruggs, who was on his team the year before, which still blows my mind how that guy was the first receiver taken off the board last year. He was the fourth best receiver for Alabama last year, and he went first overall in the NFL draft for the receivers off the board. Makes no sense to me. But at the end of the day, he can actually play football, unlike Henry Ruggs. He can actually know.
Well, where did Henry Ruggs go?
He went to the Raiders. They love speed.
Yeah, you know why he was the first? Height, weight, speed.
Yeah, just
all they draft.
I want somebody that runs a 4.240. That's fine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I said, they have all this other stuff. They have all these other intangibles. They do use him on like screenplays a lot. They'll use him on end arounds. They'll use him on jet sweeps. They'll use him on all that stuff. And he's very talented. And you get him in space, and he definitely can make it. Make an extra. Take a 5-yard play and make it into a 30 or 40 real quick. But he will find like the soft spots and coverages and stuff. Loves his easy slants. Loves all this stuff. And obviously you're playing for Alabama. So your quarterback's probably going to be pretty decent. Your offensive line's probably going to be pretty decent. Your defense isn't going to give up much points. And you have other receivers out there that are pretty good. This all, running game that works good. You have all these things that kind of work for you. I understand it, people. I understand why people might give, Alabama receivers and some of these big school receivers a little more kind of crap because it makes it easier. And I understand it.
Yep.
But he plays on the outside. He does all this stuff. The only thing I kind of have written against him is sometimes he takes like the unnecessary punishment. Like just instead of just going out of bounds, he wants to try to like juke back in for that extra like 5 yards. And it's like, just don't. It's not worth it. You'll realize in the NFL, hits hurt, and like obviously you've done it your whole career. Obviously, you know how it feels, buddy. It's a terrible thing. But getting hit on over and over and over again, it's not worth it. Just to show that guy that you're tougher than him, so you can kind of give him a shoulder as you're going out of bounds.
Yeah.
Like just don't bother. And then, like I said, it's the thing of a playmaker, right? He's going to try to get cute for those extra yards. So he's going to get there and he's going to be dancing with the, cornerback. He's going to, try to get in the open, try to cut back for an extra 5 or 10 yards, right? Try to wheel it back. It's going to happen. That's just what these playmakers do. It's hard to tell somebody just look north to south, because if he just went north to south all the time, he probably wouldn't have the highlight tape, right? And he'd probably have less yards than what he has, right? So it's some win some and lose some when it comes to that stuff. But he locates the ball well. Like I watched a couple things, like the ball goes up and he's tracking it the whole way, and like he'll adjust for it in the air and stuff. So he's locating it well. And even with the blocking, like if it's run games or other guys are getting it on screens and stuff like that, he'll actually block. Like it's he's not the biggest guy. Like he's not a DK Metcalf. No, he's not a AJ Brown or one of these guys that are just monsters out there. But he doesn't shy away from it, which I also kind of enjoyed as a receiver. It's kind of cool to see. Like I said, if you're gonna play in the NFL, you got to block. It's the way it is. You can't shy away 100%. From it. So I don't know if you've watched him at all, but
I've watched, again, very limited tape.
Yeah.
I think from a lot of things that I've watched and read, Jamar Chase from LSU is kind of he didn't play in 2020.
But he's so good.
And I think if he had played in 2020, we're not really talking about Waddle or Devontae Smith. It's funny. I think it's interesting that, Jaylen Waddle said if he would rather have passes from Tua or Jalen Hurts, he picked Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Because Alabama had Tua, Hurts, Mac Jones. Like that's most schools' actual history of their whole school to have 3 top first-round quarterbacks. They had back-to-back. I kind of like it. Who do you have? Where do you have him fitting? Like what?
I have him. So for him, I don't know. I go back and forth between him and Smith just because it's so hard. Like Smith can. You just see it that Smith can be so good. He's just so dynamic. He's such a good route runner. He's so explosive. Like the guy just puts up 200, 300 yards every game in college, which yes, you're playing against other college players, but like, guess what? They're not all bad. Not every, like that's my thing against like, for hockey or anything like Wayne Gretzky put up a lot of points. Yep. Well, he was the area he played in. Yep. Then why the fuck didn't everybody else do it? Right? Yeah. Like, why isn't there anybody within half the points of Wayne Gretzky in his career if everybody else did, right? So that's the thing. Like, was everybody putting up 200 yards receiving against every other big, team? Nope. Was he? Yep. So it's one of those things. It's for me. I kind of see him. Like, I don't think he goes to Detroit. I don't think he goes to a Carolina because I hope Carolina is kind of smart and kind of tries to help build that line. And if they're going to try to do something with Darnold, just give the guy some more options. You could give him a pass catcher. Obviously, there's guys they've lost guys over the last couple of years. They still got more there. They got a couple of guys. They got Chris McCaffrey, who's halftime he's a receiver. But I don't know if you could look at the Giants, give them another weapon for Daniel Jones to kind of say, like,
I think the Giants are the fit.
Yeah, you get Kenny Galladay.
I think it's either the Lions or the Giants.
Shepard. Like, you get Sterling Shepard, you get Galladay, but to have that explosive X factor receiver, you could give him to him. Yeah, past that, like, I don't think the Patriots going to stay where they are. No. Like the Cardinals, no. Raiders, no. Like, it's one of those weird things that once you get past that, the Panthers, Broncos aren't going to take him. Cowboys aren't going to take him. You get the Giants, maybe the Eagles. Maybe they say, let's put you back with Jalen Hurts. I don't know if they ever played together. The Chargers aren't going to take him. I can't see it. Vikings, probably not. They got Jefferson and Thielen. That's two pretty good receivers. I don't think you have to add a third one there. So after that, like I said, there's kind of a little spot where he's really only got like one or two places he can go. Once you get past the first, once you get past the Lions and Carolina, it's the Eagles, and then it's probably nobody again until you hit the Dolphins. So from 8 to 18, there's that 10 spots where it's like Eagles are bust for a draft pick, right? It's kind of, unless, obviously you could have trading back and trading up and stuff, right? Yeah. It happens, but just the way it sits right now, that's kind of the only spot. Eagles could definitely use them too, but it depends on what the Eagles want to do, right? The Eagles have so many holes, which
I think the Eagles need to fill the offensive line before they start filling wide receivers. I think I would pick the Lions. I think they're the perfect spot for either Chase, and I don't think we'll talk about one of your picks, number 5 that I have penciled in. I think Chase goes 6 to the Dolphins, and I think it's Waddle at 7 because the Lions lost both their wide receivers. So Goff needs somebody to throw to.
100%.
And I think, he doesn't need the 12-year-old 200 yards splash play guy. He needs
Yeah.
a wide receiver that's well rounded. And I think Waddle at 7 makes a ton of sense.
Yep. The only thing I wonder there is just a new coach. He's like Motor City Dan Campbell, and he just loves, like, in his press conference, he's talking about
breaking
biting off kneecaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird press conference. Like really weird.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. I don't know if he, like, that flashy skill position player fits what he wants to kind of start building this franchise around. But maybe it is, right? You never know.
Yeah.
I also think Detroit's kind of in that section right now where they're not expecting to be good. I think they're, when you trade away Matt Stafford to get draft picks and get Jared Goff, I think you kind of understand that, okay, we're probably going to be rebuilding here a little bit. Now a rebuild in the NFL could be a 3 year thing, right? It doesn't take a long time, and it's never bad to have a bona fide receiver at that point. And they've done good. Goff's done good with guys that were speedy. He had Brandon Cooks. He's got Cooper Kupp, which is underrated. Robert Woods. He's got all these guys that were very good receivers. So maybe that's a good spot for him too. So.